Hello guys, and welcome to a new video. So in this video we're just going to take the code that we started last time and we're going to make it a little better. So now if you look, here's actually our table, here's the content of our table. Now if I try to sign up and I use the same email address, let's see what happens, if that's going to be allowed or not allowed. So if I go back to sign up page, put some name, submit. If I refresh, here is the same kind of information used. And it's fine for now because if you know, and if you recall, the primary key for this table is the ID. And in this case, the ID is different, so no problem. So 5 versus 1. But email addresses should actually be unique too. So now in order to actually solve this problem, let's actually write some code and add kind of like additional checks in our program to make sure that if there is already an existing email address inside of our table, we're not going to actually allow the insert. So now if you look into this code, you will see that we execute this line way too soon. So the code we're going to add is just going to actually do some checks in here, and then if there is no existing email address in our table that matches this guy, at that point we're going to execute this one. Otherwise, let's print something for the user, tell them, well, this email address already exists, please enter another email address, or something like that. So now let's add some comments. So now we need to check if email address is already in the database. So now the way we do this is define the same variable SQL, although you can choose different name, but you don't have to. Now for SQL, this one is we're gonna select everything from the table. In this case, the table name is users, where email is equal to, now we need to escape because we have double quote, and then that's gonna be email. Escape one more time, and then semicolon. Now one thing, by the way, speaking of this, because I know some of you might get some problems in this project as well as in any project, I always do this when I do debugging. I just echo the variable because sometimes like you might have some missing like quote or comma or whatever it is. So always echo things because it's gonna really help you see what's happening. So now if I go back like to sign up page, put some information again, when I submit, select start from users where email is this email. So now it's really useful for debugging, and you really need to do it because otherwise it's really hard to debug this. And I use it in all programming languages, not even in this one. So this is actually SQL, so I select everything from users. So now, typically speaking, most scenarios, this should return nothing because it's just a brand new user who are trying to sign up. They're using their own email address. Nobody else has their email address. So that's, kind of like what you would expect. So now, similarly, we're just gonna actually do this. So we're gonna do MySQL I query, you pass it the connection variable and then the SQL. For simplicity, we're just gonna actually store this in a variable called result. So now, typically speaking, if this result is just gonna contain the result. So there's actually a built-in function. It's called MySQL I num rows, and then this takes an argument, whatever result returned from MySQL I query. So we're gonna check the number of rows. So now, if number of rows is greater than 0, it means there, the email address already exists. So that's actually a problem, right? So now, what we're gonna do is have an if statement. So if number of rows for result is greater than 0, what we're gonna do at that point, we're just gonna echo like a paragraph this email address is already in use, please choose another email address. Okay, so close the paragraph. Else, so now it means these are, kind of like there is a legitimate email address that we're going to store. So at that point, we're just going to take this guy and just, like, actually, let's just also just paste it in here. Oops, actually, I didn't. Let me just undo stuff. And then, by the way, let me just take the comment. And at that point, let me also move these indentations so it looks better. Yeah, so at that point, I'm just gonna actually, um, kind of like redefine my SQL variable and then execute the SQL, run the SQL, and that's essentially should, I think, do it. So now let me save, go back to the signup page. I'm just gonna be using test at test.com, and let's see what would happen. So I'll use this guy, submit. So now see this email address. We're still printing this. We can obviously change the code, but the email address is already in use. Please choose another email address. Let's go ahead and choose kind of like a little different. So test1 at test.com, submit, and now it says record inserted successfully. So when I refresh, you can see test1 is already in there. Okay. So that's how we need to do things, because obviously we sign up, we have our primary key to be the ID, but at the same time, email is unique and we don't need to allow it. So in this example, we used MySQL num rows to check how many rows returned from this query. And obviously we would expect this to be 0, but if it's not 0, it means the email address is already in use by, like it's already stored in the table, so we need to actually not run this one. So notice it's an if else. So we only run this one if this is indeed actually was equal to 0, but not greater than 0. Okay, so hope that was helpful, and we're going to see more examples coming up. And hopefully I'm just going to be done with this whole video series by the weekend. So you should have like a couple weeks, which is very ample amount of time to get this project completed. Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.